Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah. I am so excited, super excited. My friend Alice Wilcox has joined me today. She's going to talk all about human design and the things that she does. And it's so amazing. And we're going to share some interesting things with you. So, Alice, take it away. Tell the people who you are and what you do.
Okay. I'm so happy to be here, Tammy. I'm so glad you've reached out to me a number of times to be on the show. And I just wait for my sacral to say, this is the time.
Yes.
And the last time that you said something, I was like, yep, this is the right time to go on. I've been on this human design and Gene Keys journey. Well, let's start with human design. I've been on the human design journey for about 5 or 6 years, very intently. I was introduced to it back in 2010 or 11 or 9 or 10 from my daughter, but I kind of played on the peripheral of it. I really didn't get into it like I have over the last 5 years. And it is such powerful work
Yes.
for anybody that starts to even just be open enough to look into it and see, like, because not everything is going to resonate for you at the beginning. It's
Yes.
not. It
Yes.
may never, and everything may never resonate for you because of our conditioning. But
Right.
as we start to decondition as a human being, and we really start to become much more self-aware,
Mhm.
then we can open up to a lot more.
Right.
So I incorporate human design along with a lot of the somatic energy work that I do.
Mhm.
Reiki, EFT, I do IFS, yoga, somatic yoga, and breath work. And it just gives so much more clarity and awareness and permission to be who you are meant to be without all of the conditioning. Human
Yeah.
design is really the science of differentiation. It's just showing us how our human vehicle and vessel is meant to work, how we're meant to thrive
Yeah.
energetically and interact with people and the world around us.
Yeah.
Because we're not taught that way. And specifically for somebody like yourself, as a reflector who's only 1% of the population,
Right.
you are, you know, I'm a manifesting generator. There are 5 different types of energy types in human design. And between pure generators and manifesting generators, we make up 70% of the population. So
Right.
most of the people you ever run into are of a generator type. But for somebody like yourself and a manifester and a projector, you get steamrolled over by the energy of the collective, basically,
Yeah.
if you don't know how to manage your self energy, if you don't allow yourself to be in self energy
Mhm.
and decondition
Yes.
yourself.
Yes. That is hugely important.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's really the work that I do. I really work with women who really value personal growth and expansion and embodiment. That's important to me. The embodiment piece is important. I do a lot of self-led leadership work with women and really guiding women into disentangling from those behaviors and patterns and mindsets of the past. And I use human design and gene keys to start on that journey because it shows people in black and white, basically. And then once they hear and feel when they're starting to live that experiment
Mhm.
of using their particular strategy, which is how you navigate through life.
Yes.
For me, as a generator type, it's responding to life,
Yes.
meaning that I could have a fabulous idea, things could pour into me, but I have to have something outside of myself that that comes to me that I respond to
Gotcha.
with this sacral energy, this gut level, this gut instinct that either says, uh-huh, or nope, yep. That's how most of us are meant to work in this life.
Yes.
Meant to walk through life, but we don't. We walk through life trying to initiate things, trying to do things, hustle, push, do whatever we have to do because
Yes.
that's how we've been conditioned as humans.
Yes.
And that's a huge difference in how easy, even if you just lived by your strategy and authority, which is your wisest decision-making process for each one of us, it's different. It would change your life 100%, 1,000%, even just that. I like to keep human design as simplistic and practical as possible
Yes.
because we were speaking before you turned on the video that they're rabbit holes.
Yes.
It's deep, it's a beast. You know, it's a beast of a system
Yes.
because it's taken from four ancient wisdom traditions and modern science. It comes from astrology, the Hindu chakra system, the I Ching, the Kabbalah tree of life,
Yes.
taking all of these and epigenetics and quantum physics
Yes.
and taking all of these pieces that have archetypes in them. That's what they have in common, that they're all archetypical systems. And human design takes those and brings them together into this one master of a beast program
Yeah.
type, process.
Yes. The thing that I found so interesting in it is, um, and let me give a background. So
Sure.
Alex and I have been friends for a number of years. We've been in a few different containers together. And so, we got to know each other, and she was talking about the human design. And I said, I don't know about that. And so she said, well, what's your details? And I gave her my details, and she said, oh, wow. She said, oh, wow, you're a reflector. And I said, yeah, what does that mean?
Right.
Because when I first did the chart, I thought I had a different time of birth. So
Right.
it made me a projector that time. And then when I
Yes.
talked to my mother, because of course my birth time is not on my birth certificate. So I talked to my mother and she was like, nah, you were born, 12:30 midnight, just after midnight, she said, because they joke with me that I kept my legs closed so you wouldn't be born on Halloween. Because I was born on 11/1. So I was like,
Right.
all right, so that made me a reflector. So when I reached out to Alice, I was like, because she was like, you know anything about it? I was like, no, I don't know anything about it. To be honest, everything I'm reading is confusing. I was like, I don't even know. I was like, when I saw that it was a projector, I kind of sort of identified a little bit. I said, but then when I seen the reflector stuff, I really didn't identify. But when I had
Did
the
not.
reading,
You did not identify, or you did.
did not.
That
That's
makes
why
sense.
that's why I got the reading because I was like, I don't
Right.
know what this is about. So I got a reading with Alice and it was phenomenal. I was just telling her that I'm still looking at it. Matter of fact, I printed it off so I could look at it again and highlight it and go through it and just, embody it because so many of the things as I've looked, because this was what, about 2 years ago, right?
Oh, yes, two or three. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going
So
on three.
a few years ago. So I started looking at it and I started seeing myself in the reading. I started seeing myself in all of the different gates and all that stuff. I was like, oh, so it's almost like I feel like now I'm understanding. And
Yes.
so, what was the question that we were talking about in the green room?
Okay, we were talking about you had just randomly messaged me one day, like 3 weeks ago, and said, you know what? I'm finally understanding what you were trying to tell me, what it means for me to be very discerning of the environments that I put myself in. I'm finally understanding that it's really important for me to be very discriminatory about where I place my energy.
Yes,
And I had said to you, can you tell me more about that at this point? Like and I don't know if you were doing it consciously or not, but that's what it means when it says you take whatever information kind of resonates with you,
yes,
even if you take it in on an unconscious level, and then you start to walk it out into the world
yes,
and just see,
yes,
just see,
yeah.
see how it works out. So how long ago did you really get to the point where you were like, I see what she's saying now. And what was the situation
So it
or
was
the
like
scene?
I started looking. because I went back. I've been looking at your report for years.
Mhm.
Like every so often, I'll pull it back up and I'll be like, oh, you know what? Oh, that's what that means because I'm slowly going through and kind of learning. And, through this challenge that I've been going through with the long COVID, it's harder for me to retain information.
Right.
And thing that was so amazing about that for me when I realized was something you said in the reading. You said, you're not a person that, you don't need to go and get all the information. You just need to go and get what you need, because I realized too, like even when I read books, I hardly ever read a whole book unless it's a novel. I hardly
Okay.
ever read a whole book. I go through and I pick out different things that I need, the sections, because a lot of it I already know,
Yes.
and I had to
Yes.
realize that. I was like, I got to give myself credit. And I don't know how many people told me that I carried ancient wisdom. Like many, many. Like I've had 5 or 10 readings and everybody says that's in it. But I never really realized what the fuck that meant. And then when human design came in, it was like, okay, she is so right. But because I'm thinking, how does she know this? Because I rarely ever, like, I read books. Like, I have thousands. I got about six down here on my by my feet. I read books, but I never hardly read like a whole one. I pick out, read things, and then I'm like telling myself later, why didn't I finish that book? And
Right.
then I hear because you didn't need to,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. And that a lot of that is your second line in your profile. You're a 2/4, and your
Yes,
profile is the role that you play in this life. And that two line, they call it the traditional name is the hermit, but
yes.
I like the more up-leveled quantum name, which is the natural.
Oh, I
And
love
I'm a 2/5. I'm a 2/5. So that second line is about these natural talents and gifts.
it.
And
Yeah.
when you just said, like, this ancient wisdom, that is that exact energy of the two line. It's this energy that we're born with, that we have these, we can't even explain it. Like, we
Right.
know things, how to do things, and it's hard for us to explain how to do
Yes.
it
Yes.
just because it's so innate for us, and other
Yes.
people can see that in us.
Yeah. Because you're like, you know, somebody's like, well, how did you do so and so and so? And I'm like, I just don't know.
Yeah.
I just did it. I just do it. And I've been doing it for all these many years, but I really don't know. And I probably couldn't teach you. I'm like, it's probably something you have to catch.
Right. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, it's I can truthfully, if I break it down and distill it a little bit more, I can explain it to people that speak my language.
Yes.
If
Yes.
I'm trying to speak to somebody that is, and I have a good amount of logical energy, but if I'm trying to talk to somebody, I'm not here to convince anybody about any of this,
I love
right?
that.
I'm not convincing, I'm not trying to prove anything. I know what works for me. I know my truth. And we all do, but sometimes we need that permission, that aha moment of hearing or reading something that resonates so deeply that we're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, I need to know more about this. I need to allow myself to open up to something different
Yes.
and
That's the
something
growth.
new.
That's the growth that I see in you.
Yeah.
From when we met all those years ago, and I think we were in Laureen and them's class,
Yes. Yes.
and I was like, wow, and because I could see that in you, I was like, I don't know why she's not doing that, because you said something about it, and we were in the class, and I said, I don't know why she's not doing that. I said because she's freaking phenomenal, and then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't think she realizes how phenomenal she is. And it's like now, as I hear you, it's like I hear all of that I saw all those years ago.
That's really beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome,
Thank
of
you.
course.
Yeah. And I think we can start to speak to certain things, not just talk about them,
Hmm.
but speak about things that really are at a soul level meaningful to us.
Yes, yes,
That's my work. This is
yeah,
my work.
yeah. Yeah. And I think that is, well, number one, is so needful. Like we need this,
Yes.
and it's funny because another human design girl I interviewed, she wanted to write a Welcome to Earth book for babies
Oh, wow. Wow.
and include their design for the parents. And I was like, that would be phenomenal. And I said, I said, my friend Alice was talking about something very similar.
Yeah, because this system was channeled through or was the person who brought this forward. His name was Ra Uru Hu.
Hmm.
Uh, the voice basically gave him this information, but it was for parents to use for children.
Which would be amazing. Like I think about
So,
that all the time. I'm like, I wish I had known this when my children were growing up because I don't know
sure.
how, because I'm a reflector and I think a manifester and a damn generator or something like that. Like I don't even know how I did that, but
Right?
but I did, but I was like, wow, it would have been so nice to know that. Because
Yes.
now that I know, I can see, them. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, but they're grown now, so that's a whole nother thing.
Yep.
And
Yes.
yeah, my daughter, she's a little bit like yours. The only beautiful thing about ours is that she does talk to her brother.
That's great.
Need to, I'll ask him.
Right.
Or if
Right.
I need her, I'll call him and I'll say, three-way your sister in. You know, because
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what that's about, but you know what? I just keep praying.
Hmm.
And that's a space that for me, I think about it now, it's like, okay, there was a space where I wasn't praying and I don't think I wasn't sure about it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Then there came a time where, in addition to the environment thing that we were talking about,
Yes.
I started feeling that maybe about 6 months ago. Like I heard it. It's like I heard it, but
Hmm.
part of you is like, okay, I hear it, but what can I do about that? Like I can't move right now. I can't move right now. That's not something I can do at this very moment.
Right.
So I had to figure out, what did I need to do in order to help myself to feel better in the environment.
Right.
And so,
Right.
and that was what came to me, and I was like, wow, it took me all this time to figure this shit out. I was
Right.
like, wow, because once I started doing that and I started making some shifts in where I am, then I started feeling better. And then I wasn't in that space where, I couldn't even think because all I could think about was, I got to get them out of here.
Right.
I was in my, like, I can't hardly stand this. I got to, but I had to get myself. And I said, you know what? No, it's going to happen. You know, it's going to
Hmm.
happen. It's going to be all right. But what do I got to do in the meantime in order to help myself to feel like I need to feel?
Right. And that was getting out of that specific environment, correct?
Right. Shifting it.
Yeah. Yes. Shifting it.
Mm-hmm. Because I had to like just, get some things because it was just, yeah, it's a whole drama. It's like
Yeah.
'cause we moved here, we moved into an apartment and I haven't lived in an apartment in decades, not consistent.
Sure.
And then we moved like half the size.
Hmm.
We got stuff
Yes. Where do we put this stuff?
in boxes like piled up to the ceiling, whatever. I don't know, like whatever. So yeah. But and I told my husband I was trying to explain it to him, and I don't think he really understood what I was saying because he's a manifester
Right.
and he's a Virgo. So I was like, all right, blah, 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 blah. So finally, I think one day I said something. He said, oh, I get what you mean. Because I was like, I know. I was like, I'm not talking about, we got to run around and try to move tomorrow.
Right.
I just need for things to be looking like they're falling into place.
Right. Right.
I need to know, so I can feel it. I said, that's the thing, and I realized that and I was like, wow. And that's what made me go back and start reading the the paperwork.
That's great. That's great.
Let me go
Because
over.
that's to me, as you were speaking this, like sometimes I will say to some of my clients that I'm coaching, I'll be like, what stories and narratives are activated in your mind when you're in alignment? Like to know the difference of what those stories are, right? What you're saying to yourself, because you basically were saying you had to, because you couldn't physically pick up and move, you had to get yourself in alignment in a way that was in your realm of possibility,
Yes.
right? So you do have the choice of what narrative and story that you're telling
Yes. Yes.
against what stories are activated when you're out of alignment, when you're in that um, emotional theme for the reflector is disappointment.
Yes.
And for women, that is one of the hardest feelings, even more than failure and guilt and shame. Disappointment, if lots of times, if you really stop and think about it, what will you do just not to be disappointed?
Right. You'll do anything.
Most of the time, right? As a woman,
Yes.
specifically,
Hmm.
because of the conditioning that we've gone through
Yes.
to be the good girl, to do specific, act a specific way.
Yes.
Um, it's such a part of it can be such a part of your experience,
Yeah.
feeling of disappointment. And again, what most people will do almost anything to
Yeah.
not be disappointed. They'll not set the boundary. They will cross the boundary. They'll let
Yeah.
people cross boundaries
Yeah.
just so they don't have to be disappointed
Yeah.
again and
Yeah.
again and again.
Yeah. And it just like you said, it all boils down to conditioning.
Yes,
It's
it does.
how we were conditioned. They conditioned us. Even, because I was actually telling somebody earlier, I said, even the people pleasing.
Yes.
I said, even the people pleasing, because that is all a part of that. Like you'll people please so that you're not disappointed.
Yes,
You don't want to
exactly.
do that. You don't want to go there, but
No,
oh
right.
yeah, I'll do it. You don't want to do it, but
No.
you do that. So you, I'm like, no. And that was one of the things that I addressed in my life this year too. Matter of fact, last year, I said, you know what? Fuck that. I'm not doing that anymore. I said, I'm not pleasing nobody else. If I don't want to do it, I said, I'm not going to do it.
Your body tells you because as all of us need time alone, especially as a second line. It's called a hermit,
Yes. Yes.
as a reflector, you need alone time.
Yes.
And I learned this from another human design person. I believe her name is Christine Inge, and she is a projector, and she talks about something called pure aura time, meaning
Yeah.
depending on how many open centers or undefined centers that you have, the white centers on your chart,
Hmm.
you need at least 30 minutes a day of pure aura time. 15 minutes a day of pure aura time. So you have all centers open.
Right.
So you need a good 2.5, almost 3 hours of alone time away from everybody else just to discharge the energy that's amplified that comes into your being.
Yeah.
Now, depending on the transits and who you're around, you have centers defined. We talked about that too. You
Yes.
have that on the app where you can look and see the transits every day and you can see what is defined for you and work with that. But you need to know that so you can give yourself that time.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's
Non-negotiable.
so important because I used to wonder, because I used to think I was so strange because I always did need that. Like I always needed that time. Like I always needed my time.
Yes.
And I would get really irritated when I couldn't get it. My kids were small, it was hard to get, but
Right.
still kind of squirreled it away. Like, I would sometimes, I would take them to their daycare when I was off, so I could have some time.
Mhm.
But but yeah, I realized that. And so now it's like I'm super, super in tune with that. So it's
Yes.
like, and my husband is amazing. I'm so grateful and I thank God every day for him. But he recognizes it too. He knows
Right.
when I need my time. He doesn't bother me. He leaves me alone. He's
Hmm.
not, annoying and anything like that. And I'm so grateful, because I do. I take that time and, I'll come up here because it's upstairs. And I'll come up here and I'll close the door and I'll turn on my music and I'll do what I need to do and I'll sit and I'll call in my ancestors, and I'll call in my team and I'll just sit and sometimes I'll get channel, downloads and things like that. And it's just amazing, but I had to get to that point. It took me all this time really in the last, like I said, about the last really year or so, and I think
Yes.
that when long COVID came for me, it was a gift because it came to slow me down. It came for
Yes.
me to be present, to pay the fuck attention because I can't not. So it was a gift. I mean, I had to say that because I hear so many people, complaining about it and whining and bitching and moaning. And you can do that, or you can look at it and see what was the gift.
Exactly.
What was the gift? Because it was a gift. It's like COVID. COVID was a gift.
Oh, for absolutely. It made the world slow down. And I was hoping that certain things would,
Stay the same.
not go back to quote unquote normal, but they did in a lot of ways.
I was still grateful for being able to shop at Costco and let them bring it to the damn door. I love that. It was so wonderful.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm sure you and all the other projectors and manifestors are like, okay.
And it's funny because my husband will go in the store. He loves to shop, which I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful because I really hate shopping, but he loves to shop. So we'll go in the store. Girl, every time we go in the store, he meets a friend that he didn't have. And he's standing there, he stands there and he talks to the friend. One day, girl, he was standing there talking to somebody for an hour. I just went and found me a seat on one of the little couches that they had for sale, and I just sat down.
You're like, that's good. I can have time to myself.
That's what I said. I was like, well, I'm gonna go over here and sit with me. I'm good with
Mhm.
it. It's fine, but it's amazing. I think about that. It's like, yeah, because he's a manifester, so he gonna talk to everybody, you
Well,
know.
he has that big, yes, he has that big, bold energy. He doesn't, he's the complete opposite of you in certain ways in that he doesn't need others. He's completely self-contained in that he can get an idea, do whatever. He doesn't need anybody else to complete that for him.
Right.
That doesn't mean that he doesn't want it, but he doesn't need anybody else. He has that
Right.
kind of lone wolf energy.
Right. It's what I was telling somebody. I said, I said, I'm a big picture girl. I
Mhm.
said, I get downloads every day, all day.
Oh, for sure.
I said, I get ideas from the time I get up in the morning until the time I go to bed. I said, but you know what? I'm a big picture person. I can see the end of it. I know what it's supposed to look like. I said, now I fuck around in the middle? No, that's not me. I was like, I'm working, like I'm creating this program now, and I'm like, okay. So I sat down and I recorded like the intro of the course, and I'm like, okay, I'm recorded the intro. So now I'm working on the rest of it. I'm like, okay. So now, I'm figuring out how I want it to go and all that stuff. I already put it down, I already went and chat GPT'd it, I already got some points and everything.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, so now I can do this, and it
Yep.
feels good and comfortable to me.
And well, that's exact. You're doing it the exact way that is easiest for you, which the easiest way, since you have no defined centers,
Mhm.
to make these small little everyday decisions of how to move forward in your life or navigate your life in
Mhm.
specific things, you need to lean into the center that has the most gates activated. So for you, it's your ajna, it's your mind. It's about conceptualization. That's the consciousness hub of everything. You're taking all those downloads from your open head center, moving them down into the ajna and using all those activated gates that you have, five of them, to bring this information forward in a practical, understandable way for people.
Okay, see, that makes so much sense to me.
Yes, it's
Like it hit me.
you'd lean into that energy to be able to do all the things that you do.
Yeah, because it hit me. Because I've been doing YouTube now for I don't know 4 or 5 years, whatever it is. And it hit me finally. I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes.
That I started, like just I was kind of trying to do like strategy, what people were saying and all this stuff. But what I realized for me is when it hits me, I gotta do it.
Absolutely.
And when I do it, then it's all good.
You have a completely open head center. So you bring in stuff and you amplify it, meaning you don't have any gates activated in there that you need to filter anything through. It's just whatever's coming in is pure, whatever it is. And then you take it, you're naturally doing it, you're taking it to your ajna where you conceptualize it. You take that pressure from the head center, because the head center is a pressure center. You take that and try to answer those questions of how, what, and why from the
That's
head center.
that I'm telling you that this stuff is so amazing. When
It
I
is
actually really
super
started
amazing.
seeing, it's super amazing because it was like, because it's so overwhelming when you first start with it, just like astrology to me. Like I still don't know that. I know my big three,
Right. Exactly.
yeah, I'm not, and I could tell a little bit about some things, but not, no. But this stuff is like, okay, I started kind of seeing how it's almost like I looked into the mirror and realized that it was me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For sure.
And as we and I think about it, I'm like, as we grow and all the different things and all the different, courses that we've taken and all the different, you know, PDFs that we got, how we do.
Yes.
Started
Yes.
looking at that and I was like, look at this, and so many of the things that you were talking about, it was like, oh, this is what she's talking about,
Yes.
you know?
It's it seems to me that you don't allow that energy of the undefined center, the undefined ajna. You don't seem to get stuck in overthinking. Am I wrong or right?
I used to.
You used to.
That
Right.
was work I had to do.
Right.
Felt like
So
so much, and I had to do a lot
absolutely.
of let go work, a lot of journaling and a lot of just talking to my damn self and saying, you know what, no, that don't make no sense.
Exactly.
Thinking. It's like, no, okay, but because then to me it was like I would take it on a rabbit hole, it wouldn't even stop at whatever the thing was. I would take it all
Right.
down, like, no,
It's
no, no,
mental anxiety. It's mental anxiety
yes,
because
yes,
the ajna is where the mental awareness is.
yes, yes,
So if you allow that overthinking and fear of whatever stop you, then you're going to be caught up in that emotional theme, that not self theme of just overthinking and not getting anywhere. But it seems like from what you said, like you can take those downloads
yeah,
and you start conceptualizing, start bringing, not allowing doubt and fear and asking, how am I going to do this?
yes,
That's what a lot of people do. How am I going to do this? It's
yes,
about it's about trust.
right.
It's
And
about trusting and believing and knowing for sure that what you're doing because it feels good in your body is what you should be doing.
yes, and that's been the journey. And
Yes.
I I am most grateful for you because I mean you have been so instrumental in it because once human design came in and I started actually understanding a little bit about me instead of all, getting all in my head.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
what I would do. And so when I started being able to not do that and I started actually seeing that that's something that I was doing, like looking at the patterns,
Yes.
like
Good.
and really, working around that. And it's just been so beautiful to do. Even though it wasn't easy. But
No.
it's been beautiful just to see the culmination of it. And
Yes. Allowing yourself to trust that and really honor that you you're not like everybody else. Reflectors are not, you dance to a different drum, you go to a beat of a different drum, and you have to
my
allow
marketing,
give yourself permission to do that.
I put that in my marketing.
Yes.
I said, I dance to the beat of my own drum.
You do. You do. And you have all of that wisdom because of that openness,
Yeah,
all of that intuition and all of that wisdom that you've garnered through your lifetime of finding your true self.
yes. Just trust him. Yes.
Mhm.
Because I laugh because I think about it. I said, the journey is always trusting. It's always
Yes,
trusting.
it is. It's always trusting, absolutely. And not,
And once I got that, it's almost like, okay, all right. And actually also standing in that because I had been like really working on my solar plexus.
Mhm.
I was like, no, it's time for me to stand in my motherfucking power. And I had really gotten there. And so just that journey and getting there has been so phenomenal and everything. And it's like, wow. So let's dial it back because it's time for us to
Yep.
land this plane. But
Yes, it
I
is.
want you to talk about how human design has changed your life.
Oh my God, in so many ways. Like I said in the beginning, it's given me permission to be my multi-passionate self and the kind of person that does take shortcuts and the kind of person that can see, like, I can come into a room and see what needs to change to make it work better and to like just it's allowed me to really accept myself for who I am and that I'm very different than most people I've ever grown up with. I'm very unconventional, being a fifth line. That's the heretic or the natural leader, but it's that heretical energy of not going with the flow, not, just not doing that.
Yeah,
Human design has really allowed me, one of the biggest things that it has done for me is to not judge other people,
yeah,
not judge other people because everybody has their own journey. Everybody's different. And I've been able to do a lot of forgiveness work, deep, radical forgiveness work,
yes,
especially around the situation with my daughter. Um, but it's, I'm not a victim of anything.
yes,
There are no perpetrators and there are no victims. These
yes,
are our spiritual assignments,
yes.
all of it.
Mm,
And it's just really allowed me to lead myself first, allow me to be self-led
yeah,
and given me more opportunity I have a lot of self-doubt energy naturally.
yes,
And it's really given me permission to know that it's all just energy. That's all. It's here to show me something. And the
yes,
more open I am to it, looking at the shadows, integrating the shadows, and
yes,
knowing my shadows, like nobody can come to me and say, well, you're like this, and this. And I'm like, yeah, I am.
yes. I
I
love that.
know it.
I
And
love
I'm
it.
working on and I'm evolving through it.
Yeah. And you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell the difference. I'm telling you, the difference between you and those years ago and now, it's like you're like you were a powerhouse then, but you didn't know it. But now,
Not right, not
know
in
it.
what I was familiar with, like in my day job.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It took me years, but I got there. But yes, manifesting generators, we have this big, bold energy.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I'm still learning, but yes, I'm owning it much more. My magnetism, my charisma,
And you see
everything.
it. It comes
That
out.
yeah, that
Because
that's a gift.
I
That's a
saw it
gift.
in your post one day.
Oh, thank you.
I did. I saw it in your post. I went, because I think I even told you, it's a
Hmm.
damn good post. But I saw it in your post and I was like, wow, she has really come into herself, is what I said.
Hmm.
I was like, man, look at Alice. I said, she's doing the damn thing. I'm so happy for her and so proud of her.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's how I felt. So, going forward, where do you see yourself taking human design? And, are you thinking of packaging it? Because it feels like even with Reiki,
Mhm.
that's like an amazing combination.
Absolutely.
See yourself, taking it any other places, or what do you see yourself doing in the future?
Ah, most recently, working with certain women that I've been in, been in some of my containers. We want to take this more offline and more in person because we feel that people are needing that connection.
Yeah,
So for me, it is still continuing just to get this information out there because in the grand scheme of things, nobody knows about human design and gene keys.
right. We
So
thought we thought everybody did, didn't we? In our
yeah.
in our little place.
So, that is my mission is to get it out there in all ways possible, online and offline, and using it where, introducing it to as many people as possible
Good.
and
That's
keeping it simplistic and practical and accessible where
yeah.
people don't feel overwhelmed by it. And my experience is like when I'm doing one-on-one mentoring or coaching with women, they're all individually curated experiences.
That's awesome.
It's not, no one is the same.
Right.
The what I give of myself is, but the experience itself, I want it to be just
Individual.
for them. Yes, it's individual. It's got to be individual.
Yeah. So you don't do any group containers of this.
Yes, I did. Yes, I have done some. Last year I did two cohorts of a mastermind reclamation, and this year I'm going to start I'm going to do another mastermind, but more leaning towards human design because that's what I found with the women that were in these two containers. That of course, because I introduced human design to each one of them, and there was a lot of human design aspects in these masterminds that they wanted to learn more about. So I'm going to be doing one next year called Activate,
Nice.
meaning activate, your human code, your human design codes.
Hmm.
And I'm also going to be doing a program called Joy Quest,
Okay. How
which
many
is
people are going to be in each one?
as many as I'm still, I'm open. I'm
Okay.
open to
So no limit. No
that.
limit.
I like to keep them at a very workable, intimate kind of like 10 to 15,
Yep. That's me.
something a little more intimate
Hmm.
because I saw how much these last two rounds of reclamation was the women were so different yet so the same.
Yeah.
I just the fractal line that I'm pulling in just feels so good of the women that I'm trying to reach
Yeah. It's
because
like,
it's not really about my audience.
right.
It's about what I'm saying is reaching the right people because there's plenty of people in my audience on my Facebook page and that they're not involved with this,
Yeah. I know it well.
but I'm speaking to reach my fractal line,
Yeah.
you know, the people that want to do and walk this road together.
Yes. And that to me is super important
Yes.
because I feel the same way. It's like I set intentions for the people that need to see and need to hear and need to experience to show
Yes.
up.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm not gonna do it any other way. So I have one last question that I want to ask, and you can answer this, and then after that, I want you to share with the people the best places to reach you and where to
Sure.
find you and all that.
Sure.
So I ask everybody this question. I've only gotten the same answer twice. But if there was anything in the world that you could change, what would that be and why?
If there was, what's the one thing that I would want to change?
Mhm.
If there was anything in the world I could change? Hmm. Gosh. I would want to change, truthfully, people, people not forgiving each other.
Yes.
People not seeing other people for who they are.
Yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
I think forgiveness is a huge, um, it becomes a huge block for people
Yes.
just because of what we think forgiveness is, that we're giving up something and we're losing something and they're winning something. If
Yes.
I could change anything, it would be how people view forgiveness. Because I think with that, it would start a domino effect and so many other things would fall to the wayside.
Oh my God. And that is another different one. Nobody has said that's awesome.
Because God, if people could forgive, they could see people in a whole different way. Like wars would stop,
I was gonna say it wouldn't be so much judgment.
right? Wars would stop. People, I mean, that alone, just people not warring against each other would change the world
Be nice if
dramatically.
be nice if we could do it soon before we do
Yeah.
this next one, because this next one is on the horizon.
Yeah. And to me, that is something that, and you're saying why? Well, first of all, because I know what forgiveness has done for me over the last 13 years in particular.
Hmm.
And there's a freedom to that.
Yeah.
There's an acceptance of that, you know, being accepting other people.
Yeah.
And like I said, I once that happens, so much else falls away. You don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. I also believe that that's the beginning, and it's funny because I'm a person that forgives easily, and I always have,
Mhm.
except for myself.
And then that's the first thing that we have to do.
Right. So I had to learn that I
Yeah.
need to forgive me. And, because I felt like, I should know better, that kind of stuff, Actually, you should know better. This is how you talk to yourself. You should know better. That was really stupid thing you did, stuff. But, in forgiving and learning how to forgive myself, that's been huge. Because I didn't realize even when I was doing the forgiveness exercise, because I did like a forgiveness letter. And
Right.
I didn't realize at that time that it was me that I needed to forgive the most.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was like,
It always is at first. We have to forgive ourselves, and then we can extend that same forgiveness to other people
yeah, yeah. No,
without all the excuses
I
of
was doing
why
it
we're not
backwards.
doing it.
I was doing it backwards. So we
Because
keep on
we're back. That's because of how we were taught what forgiveness is.
oh yeah,
That's what it is in the 3D world, the ego world. Yes, that's what the forgiveness we've all been taught.
yeah. But
That's
but
not what it is to
but
me.
that's not what it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So
So I
share
would,
share with the people where they can connect with you
sure.
the best way.
My Instagram is at Soul Lined Beauty. You can find me on Facebook at Alice Wilcox. My picture's there with my red hair. Um, and I'd also like to offer your listeners, I'm going to be doing a free masterclass of human design in January. And if anybody is interested, they could DM me the word beginner's mind. That's the name of the masterclass. It's not necessarily just for beginners, but it's about coming back to that beginner's mind for ourselves to learn about ourselves. So they can DM me beginner's mind and I'll send them out information as it comes, as I start letting it out into the world. And I'd like to also offer any of your listeners $100 off of a human design immersion reading if you purchase before January 31st. You don't have to use it, just purchase it before the 31st of January.
Nice. That is so awesome. I am so excited for this because y'all, I'm telling you, Alice's readings are no joke. I mean, they are comprehensive. I mean, she goes all in, and I'm telling you, yeah, you can't find a better person to, do that for you. And for me, I felt like she was amazing because nobody else can do reflectors. unless they're a reflector. Like I had a reading with a
Right,
reflector, you know,
right,
nobody
right.
else. The rest of the
I
people,
had some great teachers.
you had amazing teachers because your thing was like I had a girl actually tell me she couldn't do me because she said she had never done a reflector. I was like, well, to me that would seem like an opportunity, but okay.
Absolutely,
But what
absolutely.
I felt was fear. I said she was just afraid, and that's okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'd rather her say that, and then rather than come with some bullshit.
Right. Exactly.
I'm like, yeah,
Exactly.
just say you can't do it. Don't come trying to shove shit up my ass. You know, piss on me and call it rain. No, no. All right. Well, I have enjoyed you so much, Alice. I could probably talk
Ew.
to Alice for another freaking hour, but we
I
got.
know. I know. We could. We could. Thank you so much, my friend, for reaching out to me and telling me where you were in your human design journey. And it really does my heart so, yeah, I'm so excited to hear that.
I'm so
And
glad.
thank you for always thinking of me. I appreciate it so much.
Always. You know what? You and so many others had such a special place in my heart, because that little container was so
Yeah,
nice.
it was, wasn't it?
It was just cool and everybody was
Yeah.
communicating and I honestly don't think I found another container like that. It
No, it was different. It was different for
was.
sure.
And we
Well,
all
we
felt
need to
so
make those
covered.
containers ourselves then,
We do.
right?
It can't be me, but because I have a group and every day I think about closing it. But
Oh, my friend.
it might have run its course. You never know.
Yeah, right. You'll get the hit.
Okay, I'm
All
done.
right.
Going over here.
Yep. All right.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining, Alice. It's been my pleasure. I'm just so grateful that you came. So we
Yeah.
will definitely connect again because I
We'll
know,
do it again.
definitely, because you know what? This has been so amazing. I've been after her for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, right.
You have just finished watching Alice Wilcox and I talk all about human design and how amazing it was. We even shared about my particular human design and the work that we did together because she was the very first person that helped me to even understand what human design was and what my particular design was and how it was going to work for me and how it actually was me and that experiment. And so as I've been in this experiment, I have spoken to her back and forth about different aspects of the report that she gave me because when she does your human design, you get this huge ass report. And so I got this report and I've been actually looking through it over the years because it's been a few years since I had my session with her. But I pull it out every now and again just to get some clarification and some clarity in my life. And so human design is like that. It gives you a lot of clarity and it opens up your mind to things that maybe you didn't know or you didn't think about. And it also, speaks to astrology as well. So I would highly recommend that you grab a human design reading from Miss Alice Wilcox. And her details will be in the show notes. So you'll be able to find her where she is. She has a couple of awesome things that she's doing coming up. So make sure that you go and you follow her there and connect with her. Also, connect with me everywhere that you see me at Intuitive Tammy on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook is my name, Tammy Morrison. On Instagram is Intuitive Tammy 56. Um, I think it's Intuitive Tammy on Clapper and it's Intuitive Tammy on Lemonade. So all those places you'll find me. Make sure that you check out the details in the show notes and go to my stand store and look in there and look at my free resources. I have lots of free resources because what I do is help people to understand their spiritual gifts and I help women and femmes align to love. So if those are things that you're looking for, and I also have a membership, remember who the fuck you are, to help you to remember who the fuck you are, help you understand your spiritual gifts, help you understand purpose and calling and all of those things. And so we come together in a community of like-minded people. Remember who the fuck you are, my membership community, and it's only $97 a month. You'll get a monthly Zoom class every month. We're going to come together on Zoom. And guess what else? Every month, I'm going to choose somebody randomly in the group to get a session with me, a free session with me. And you get 20% off of all of my services just for being a member. And also make sure that you're following me at Intuitive Tammy on TikTok, because there I go live and I do healings, prayers, and messages from spirit, and sometimes messages from heaven come through. So join me there at Intuitive Tammy. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope that, this was such a magical show for me, because I've been waiting for Alice to come on this show for years, and she finally decided to show up. It was divine timing and it was beautiful. So I hope that you enjoy it and have a wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, weekend, or whatever it is for you. Bye now.